On your feet! Get them going!
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Guten Morgen. Ohayo gozaimasu. Konnichiwa, konbanwa, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I have no background. I have so much stuff going on right now. I don't have. Somebody help me. I just need help. That's what I need. I need help with my life, and I need God to just give me everything I need so that I'm not just I'm so behind the eight ball. I'm so backed up. Then I got stuff. Look, I don't want to complain about good things like birthday parties and 4th of July and, going fishing with my kids. Definitely not complaining about that. I'm not complaining. It's just I have so much work to do. And then, like, this entire week is like mom's birthday party, son-in-law's birthday party, 4th of July, fishing. It's like every day something taking up like half of my day or more. And I just had so much stuff to do that it's hard to enjoy the time off when you know it's just shoving all the stuff you have to do into a smaller time frame. And now I have to do a t-shirt design for Squid Grow, like, and they need to get the order out by Tuesday. So now I have to, oh, good, something else I have to shove into my limited time. Hi, how are you doing? I'm fine. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. No, I'm not. It's not stress even. It's not that I'm stressed about it. Am I stressed about it? Is that why I have pain in my lower back? I just want to be able to go and enjoy some time off without thinking, oh my gosh, this is just making my life harder. You know what I mean? Anybody know what I mean? Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Bert? Maybe I'm putting too much stuff on my plate. But I like having a lot of stuff on my plate. This is the problem. This is the problem with, hello, my name's Mike, and I'm a workaholic. And it's one thing when you're just doing stuff for yourself, but when you're taking on projects for other people, and those people have like deadlines and stuff, freaking Larry wants that thing done by next week too. I'm very bad at time management. All right. I'm just going to try to ignore all my looming deadlines and enjoy the birthday party for my son-in-law. You know what sucks is it's like where we're going to do the birthday party, it's right by where we go fishing. And I kind of just want to just bring my rod and just go. King Bob says, are we Japanese today? Brother, we're Japanese every day. That's how we roll. Hey, Tina. Yes, Tina. I got your gift. Tina sent me erasers, but I haven't tried them yet because I'm very, very happy with this. I don't even know what kind of eraser this is. I think it's a magic rub. I'm using this one right now. You know what? You want me to test them right now? Bring it just in case. Yeah. I might have to bring my iPad just in case and actually get some work done. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's funny. We used to go to this hotel like all the time. Yeah. Humphreys by the Bay. So we used to pre-COVID, birthday parties, like not every birthday party, but that's where I spent my 50th birthday party, spent my, like all these different birthday parties, we would go and we'd get a big suite at Humphreys by the Bay, because it's just a really, really cool Bible Benkyo Shiyoka. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Onegaishimasu! わかりません. Oh my gosh, this is impossible to unwrap, Tina. Holy cow. I should have just cut it open with a knife. Oh, it's in a little baggie. Okay, super wrap. All right, I'm gonna try. This is a Faber-Castell. This is a product testing stream, in case you're unaware. And this is the plastic bracelet. Yeah, they have these at made in China. China. All right, I've got 2 testing erasers. I now require paper. Oh, freaking bad. Maybe going swimming is going to help. All right. Tina's sending me photos. I told her I was going to be busy for an hour. This is people just wanting my stuff. Oh my gosh. I can't whip up a Michelangelo piece in the time I have between now and Tuesday. So can you do it Saturday or Sunday? I'm like, no. Okay. Oh my gosh, this piece of paper. Oh god, I forgot. I haven't finished this one yet. I need to finish this one. But all right, I have my handy dandy pencil. These are the vibes, are definitely not one color. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna do a single white like that across. So this is mine. That erases perfectly. This is the itty bitty Faber-Castell, which again I have to unwrap. That they know pieces off. I should get that done, except I don't have time to get it done. I don't have time for anything. This is my stress. Faber-Castell in the middle. Does not erase quite as well. I can still see some stuff on there, some pencil. And this is the made in China. I think Faber-Castell is made in. Oh, Faber-Castell is made in Malaysia. Made in China. Plastic eraser. Ready? Oh no. Okay, so I don't know if you can see. It's really hard to see, but this is the made in China. This is the Faber-Castell. And this is the, I think it's a Magic Rub. The Magic Rub erased the best. The other two aren't bad. The other two are not bad, but it took 3 rubs to erase that one. 3 rubs. Yo. Yeah, the Magic Rub is just like, or this one was just like one swipe and it erased. So, not terrible, Tina. Not terrible. Not as good as this one, though. But I do appreciate it. Tina sent those to me to test out, so I do appreciate. And it's weird, huh? I mean, it's an eraser. It shouldn't be like, you wouldn't think there would be that much of a difference. They're all just the same white plastic erasers. I was hoping to send you something you like, but I know I really do appreciate it. But you know how long, as long as I don't lose this, and that's the key to erasers. I actually did a comic strip once for Bless This Mess on losing erasers because you lose these suckers and they're gone for. And it actually, you know what? I haven't been losing them since my daughter moved out. Yeah, these are. This is a Pentel high polymer eraser. Let's see where Pentel's made in Taiwan. Taiwan, Malaysia, Japan. Maybe they get different sources of rubber. Curious, isn't it? Malaysia. Ooh, yuck. You want yours from Taiwan. You want Taiwan. I think I got these at Staples. But yeah, Pentel makes. So far, Pentel, high class. First class erasers. So, and this should last me at least a good 2 years. Right? Maybe. Oh my gosh, that's so true. Mechanical pencils for me. I bought a box of them and they're gone. Yeah, but you don't have some. Oh, you've got Melissa. Melissa's stealing your pencils, Amy. Yay, Amy got my phone. Hi, Mike. Hi, King Bob. Melissa, stop stealing Amy's pencils. We don't know for next time. No, I appreciate it. You know, I can hand these erasers. I can give them to my daughter. They work. It's not like they don't work. It's just it's just a you know, a little bit of extra effort. Anyways, enough about me. What do you think about me? I love that old joke. That's enough about me. What do you think about me? Oh, for those of you who did not see, I don't know if this is going to show up because it's blue, but Drawn and Quartered last night I finished. Here, let me turn off my green screen so you can see my finished Captain America. Da, da, da. This was from Drawn and Quartered last night. I will be making it available on Whatnot as soon as I scan it in. $250 if anybody wants it from here. I know this is not the comic book buying audience that I have over on Whatnot, but that's what I've been doing over there when I'm not working. So it's Whatnot is a great. I'm sorry, this is all about me, but the Whatnot is a great when you don't have another project, but you still want to work and sell stuff because you don't want to just sit here twiddling. Whatnot is a great time filler for selling stuff for artists, right? So I draw stuff on there when I don't have other projects. Right now I have so many projects. I'm trying to still spend some time on Whatnot just to kind of like keep the audience going there. But oh my gosh, yeah, I have so much other stuff I have to do that I can't do on Whatnot. I mean, I guess I could do it, but it's like it seems purposeless to do it on Whatnot. Anyways, let's talk about something else. I was watching. I saw a cool. I know there's people out there who don't think that God talks to people today. It would, and they're lovely, devout people who just for some reason, they think the God and Creator of the universe can no longer speak to people directly. I don't get that. I don't understand that personally. So I'm gonna play this little. Let me see if I can find it. I know I have it because I sent it to someone else on Instagram. Instagram. but I thought this was a very cool item. Sorry, I just remembered I sent a different one. I'm not going to show that one though. All right, this one. All right, so let me pause this. I don't know how to start it over. All right, I'm not going to start it over, so you might have missed the first couple of seconds of it. Present share screen, entire screen, audio, share. This is just cool. All right.
Which were episodes where I would just start to think, well, what am I doing here? Where did I come from? Where am I going? You know, you get so caught up in everyday life that I felt as though I was missing the big question, and I didn't have any answers to that question. So while this was going through my mind, my youngest son was born, and my wife and I noticed that he wasn't really making really good eye contact as a young infant, and I was afraid that he was autistic. And the thought that he wouldn't connect to me was really terrifying to me. So we took him to some specialists, got him evaluated. They said they couldn't really be sure. And when he was about 6 months old, I was at a outside Catholic hospital seeing a patient in consultation late at night. And as I was leaving the hospital, I was really having a tough time emotionally. So I stopped by the hospital chapel. And I got in front of the altar and I prayed. And I said, Lord, I don't know if you exist. I rather doubt that you do. But if you do exist, this is something I can't take. I can't have a child who is separate from me in this way. It's something I don't know that I can bear. And I heard a voice, only time in my life I've ever heard a voice. And the voice said, but that's what you're doing to me. And I collapsed. I said, well, I won't do it to you anymore. I'm sorry. I know how it feels now. So the next day I called up the church, said I need to get baptized like as fast as possible. And a couple of days later was my son's 6-month birthday, and I came home from work, and he was perfectly normal, making eye contact, smiling, a normal baby. So I realized that the Lord had shown me what I was doing to him, and he wanted me to be closer to him. So I've spent many years now trying to get closer to him and to help people see that Christ is the answer. Christ is the way. I would get these things that I called hauntings.
This is why I don't mute. I don't mute myself because I always forget to unmute myself. All right. Anyways, I sent this to my friend because he's one of these guys that just doesn't believe that God talks to people. I'm not to say it's a regular thing. Not to say everybody can just pick up the spiritual phone and be like God, and he's gonna be like, "Yo, what's up, Mike?" Right? That's it. It's not. It's the echo is maddening though. Isn't that weird? The echo seems to be like a new thing. It didn't used to echo when I would play stuff. Do I have my mic set on the wrong setting or something? That's entirely possible. Yeah, let's say hi to everybody. I mean, you guys are here. You've been here already for a minute, and it's 19 minutes in, but let's say hi anyways. King Bob, Tina D, Amy, DJ. Scrolling. Y'all are having the same conversationalisms. Melissa. Am I missing Tanner? Justin. Let me know if I'm missing you. Anybody? Corpse Grinder. You like that lady at the beginning? Joe K. the beginning of Romper Room. Most of you are probably too young to remember Romper Room. I guess the echo came with these little crowns. You know, you would think after all these years of streaming, Mike would be better at this. You would think, and you would be wrong. But yeah, it's like, look, I've told you guys the stories. Early in my walk, early in my faith, I would hear God fairly regularly when I was doing Bible study, and it was like he would answer questions more or less, and then eventually that stopped. It wasn't a lot. It was just I would hear a still small voice. It was not my own voice, and it was information I didn't have, that I didn't know. So then later, I've had just a handful of just clear. Well, I've had clear, and I just had this. Who did I have this conversation with? I was just talking to someone about like hearing truth. Like, I'll give you the example. Well, this is like not God's voice, but it's God's voice in the sense that as soon as you hear this thing, you know it to be true. Like a clarity, unlike, I guess it sounds like a word of wisdom. I don't know what it is, but it's just like I'll tell a story again. You guys have heard the story, but I'm going to tell a story again. I was sitting in the Ralph's parking lot with my wife. We had just gone shopping, and I had just visited Portland. My brother lived in Portland, still lives in Portland. That's why he's turning into a liberal. And I didn't like it. It was cold. The sun didn't really shine. The sun offered no warmth. It was like, mold grows everywhere. I don't like Portland. I still don't like Portland. But when we were sitting in my car, my wife, for some reason, says, "Do you think we're supposed to move to Portland?" And to me, it was like a bolt of lightning, like a bolt of. The only way I could explain it is that it sounded like truth. And I'm like, yeah, it was like an absolute conviction at that moment that we were supposed to move to Portland, a place I did not want to live. Why do you think it's God speaking? Maybe an angel speaking for God. Well, in this case, my wife was acting as the angel. Angel only means messenger. Angel is not an ontological category. Angel just means messenger. A human can be an angel. God himself can be an angel. A seraphim or a cherubim can be an angel, right? So seraphim and cherubim, those are, when most people think angel, that's what they're thinking about. Mike, you live in Portland. I lived in Portland. I will not go back unless God does this to me again. So did you ever move out of that cursed city? Heck yeah, because that was a thing again. So it was after my dad died. So there's a whole rigmarole about my dad, us all moving up to Portland. My mom moved up there. We brought my dad up there. My mom moved up there so we could all take care of my dad after he had the stroke and blah, blah, blah. After my dad died, I was like just sitting in my mom's living room, laying down on the couch. And she's on the other couch on the other side of the room. And she goes, "You think we should move to San Diego?" And again, at the same thing as with my wife. That was just absolute conviction. By the way, just so you know, It took about another year for my wife to be convicted that we should move to Portland. But when my mom said that, and I had that absolute conviction, I was like, it felt like our mission in Portland was done. My dad got saved because we all moved up to Portland together. And it just felt like, yeah, same thing. My mom was acting as an angel, right? A messenger. And so we moved back down here. Now, the other time, it was when I got the Game of Thrones gig from George R. R. Martin himself. And I've told this story, so I don't really want to regurgitate it over and over again. But just to say that that time I did hear, like, you're not drawing this book. You're not drawing this book. And I fought it, and I fought it, and I fought it for hours while I was drawing my sample page for the editors. And until I finally gave up. And I'm like, all right, fine. So why anyone thinks that God can't talk to you? No, I get it. It's not always. And maybe some people have a better interpersonal relationship than others. Why someone would categorically say God cannot, God who created the universe and holds every atom together, lest it all erupt in flame, who designed everything, including every cell of your body, and keeps it all running. What is the argument in any logical or theological sense that God cannot speak to a human being? I just don't get it. I don't get it. And to take a firm stance on that, I get it if you've never heard the voice of God. I get it. But to categorically say that cannot happen, to me, seems the height of foolishness. The one I just described, Corpse Render, the one that created the universe, the one that holds every atom in place. That one. There is no argument. God can do whatever he wants, including speaking to us. That's right. Sorry, I don't. Something is. Something backing me up. King Bob says, I would say the closer you are to living a Christ-like life, the easier it is to hear God. But that's just my opinion. Well, and I might not argue that point, but I would also argue the point that's like, look, when I was a young Christian, that's when I heard God the most. It wasn't because I had grown closer to him. It was because I needed answers, I think. And God will give you what you need, right? And like with this guy, the neurosurgeon we just heard from, he didn't even believe in God. He's like, I think you probably don't exist. He was clear. He's obviously agnostic. And God spoke to him. God gives you what you need. Like when I prayed the first time and my prayer was answered in 30 seconds, I pray now. My prayers are not answered in 30 seconds. It's not a gimme, tell me, whatever. It's like at that moment, I needed an answer for God to show me he was real. And he gave it to me. And then it was up to me to say, well, that was just a coincidence, as most who don't want to believe. See, I wanted to know the truth. I didn't, that's why I was asking God to prove himself, because I want to know, are you real? Are you Jesus, who you say you are? That's what I prayed, and that's what my prayer was answered right away. Then my second prayer was answered right away. And then I'm like, okay, I need to look into this. I need to start study. I didn't suddenly become a born again Christian. But it opened that door from being agnostic to, well, somebody's answering these prayers, and something, like I said, being raised agnostic, I was raised to believe you couldn't know. You can't know this stuff. Well, why can't you know it? That never really crossed my mind growing up. Why can't I know? You know what? I was a curious enough guy. I should have thought that when I was growing up, but I never really did until, until I did. Why can't you know? To emphatically state that you cannot know if there's a God that's a statement of faith. I could have sworn I heard God say to me at one time, I don't need to say anything to you. You do enough talking for the both of us. Not Jesus God then. Actually, yes, that is Jesus God. God told me to move to my summer house near Corinth. It's 40C in Athens. I don't know what 40C is. But he says, the issue with the assumption you're making is that they don't assume God exists, so speech isn't possible from a non-existent entity. The issue with the assumption you're making is that they don't assume God exists. They whom? Oh, no, I'm saying people, Christians. There's Christians that don't believe that God can talk to you. Actually, I'm not going to say who it is. It's just a friend of mine I know he's a devout believer, but he doesn't believe God talks to people. I'm like, so he's never talked to you. Which, look, that probably puts you in the majority of people that, have never heard the voice of God. And I know it kind of sounds weird even saying it, but it happened to me. It happened to this guy. It happens to people. So does it happen to everyone? No. Maybe everyone doesn't need it. Maybe I'm a doubting Thomas and I needed to stick my finger in the hole. That doesn't mean I don't believe in Jesus. It just means I needed something a little extra. Maybe see, doubting Thomas should speak to the skeptic, right? It's not that Thomas wasn't one of the apostles and didn't believe in Jesus and everything. It's just like when they're all like, hey, he's back from the dead. He's like, yeah, you're gonna have to show me that. Doubting Thomas, that's the skeptic. That's not the cynic, right? The cynic is the ones who would not believe even if a man should rise from the dead. Those are the Pharisees. Corpse Grinder says, so Father is outside of space-time and has no body. He couldn't speak. That's why he sends messengers. Why can't he speak? You know what speech is, right? You're creating sound waves, but at the same time, this isn't. I can hear my voice in my head, and so can you, right? So if a voice comes into my head that's not my voice, well, it could be a bad guy. But if it's glorifying God, it's God. And could that be an angel, messenger, whatever it is? It's a moot point. The angel of God in the Bible is God. So that's not really, you're kind of forest treesing this whole thing. Forest treesing. I just made a word. The alternative side is that an all-knowing transcendent entity is the blind watchmaker, or so above caring about you being upset about your mortgage that a God that powerful wouldn't speak to you. That's basically the deist argument, isn't it? If God can speak, why? Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I hate the why. Why doesn't God do this specific thing for some specific person? I know God's ways are beyond my ways. So what he allows, what he does, what each individual needs, blessed are those who believe without seeing, right? So maybe for those of you who haven't heard God's voice, you're more blessed than I am because maybe I needed that and you didn't, which makes your faith greater than mine. God bless you. Why isn't he speaking to everyone literally all the time, especially if he wants a relationship? Yeah, that's my answer. That's my answer. Yes, Buddy Rabbit is back. The old crew is back. Yep, seeking truth is Christ-like in my opinion. So that still tracks. But again, that's just my opinion. Yeah, that's why I think Rogan is going to become a Christian. I think Alex O'Connor is going to become a Christian. The people who you can tell are earnestly seeking truth, even if they don't believe now, I think they will find. See, it's the difference between somebody like a Rogan who's seeking truth, or even Alex, who's I think that kid is serious, wants to know the truth, and someone like Justin from Deconstruction Zone, who is a cynic and argues in bad faith, frankly. The easy retort is, why do you believe God has any obligation to speak to you at all? Right, well, God has no obligations, except to the truth. But he is the truth, so it's not really an obligation, it's just his nature. Peaceful ears make it easier to hear the still, small voice. Oh my gosh. And this is the world. Oh my gosh, that's probably why. So when I was doing that Bible study, it was when I was in Texas, so I didn't even have the sound of this highway next to my house. And it was always in the morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning. And it was like, I was just waiting for my car ride, and he was always late. So I would just sit there with my Bible in the stillness and the quiet of the we were like on the edge of town. It was like southeast. Was it southeast or southwest? Southwest. But like our apartment complex was like the newest apartment complex, and like after our complex, it was still like just trees and stuff and quiet. It was very quiet, unlike anything I have in San Diego. I literally can't go anywhere in San Diego that's as quiet as it was. And yeah, it's crazy, huh? I never really thought about that. 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh, yo, pass. That's why I live in San Diego. Pure blood. It is a great help to knowledge. Sorry. It is a great help to knowledge not to be ignorant of our ignorance. For sense of want spurs on endeavors after enjoyment. Deep thoughts by Pure Blood. Tanner says, I think sometimes God stays silent so you can move in faith and build your faith. Ah, wisdom. There be wisdom. There be wisdom. That's a contradiction in terms. Christian and not believing in God's ability to speak. Well, I don't know if it's, yeah, maybe I'm arguing that position incorrectly. Not that he cannot, but that he does not. So yeah, maybe I'm strawmanning that argument a little bit. I don't know how to argue that Where's the argument from Scripture that God will no longer speak to anyone? Maybe that's the position he's taking. And he's not the only one. I know other Christians that don't think God speaks to you too. It's like the ones that say that gifts, like no one can be healed and no one can speak in tongues and no one. It's like it may not be normative, but I've seen people healed. I've had. I don't want to say I've healed people, but I've prayed over people and they've been healed. I mean, not like growing back limbs or nothing, but one time my cat broke his back. It was when he was just a kitten, and we were gonna have to put him down. And Micah was, how old was he? Probably 10 or 11 or something like that. And he was just crying, and I'm like, well, why don't we just pray over him? And so we just both put our hands on him and we started praying for him, and after a little while of praying, his leg starts kicking, and we like look at each other like and then he got his walking man. He was just right as rain. So yeah, it happens. But people who say that God can't do, I don't get, or won't do miracles. I guess I can't say they say he can't, but that he won't, and he will. He won't all the time. He talked to Moses. That's right. He talked to all kinds of people. God doesn't talk to me, and that's good. I can't spare 50 euros per hour for the psychologist. Well, your head is in space-time. I don't understand the argument, Grinder. I really don't understand the argument that you're saying that God, who literally by definition can't do anything that's not against his nature, can't audibly speak to you. I mean, even in just the physical world, it's just vibrations in the air. The only reason this microphone is picking up what my mouth is doing is because my throat is making vibrations in the atmosphere between my mouth and the microphone. You think God can't vibrate air? Even if it was an audible vibration so everyone could hear it. You don't think God can vibrate air? You don't think he can deliver a message telepathically, however you want to phrase it? I don't understand the limitations you're putting on God. Yeah, that's why I asked if you meant God by God, and now it includes Jesus and his angels. You are playing the cut game. Jesus is God. Jesus, as the angel of God, acted as the messenger of God in the Old Testament. Whenever you see the angel of God in the Old Testament, that's more or less a Christophany. It's the pre-incarnate. Gosh, I hate to even say that. I don't even know how to phrase that because of the way I think about how God is outside of time and can literally. Could it be the birth Christ taken out of time, put in this time, in his physical body, or is it a time-wise physical body in an incarnation, the way angels can incarnate in physical bodies? I don't know. There's a lot missing in the what we know for absolutes. But it's not the cup game to say it's God and then it's Jesus. God is Jesus. Jesus is God. Jesus is not the Father, and he's not the Holy Spirit. That's why we believe in the Trinity, the triunity of God. It's not a cup game. It's the Trinity. Just read Genesis 18 this morning. Just read Genesis 18 this morning, speaking of the confusing nature of God. Next will be 19, where God calls fire from heaven down from God. Sodom and Gomorrah. Yep. He wants our trust. You can't have a real relationship without trust. That's true. That's true. And that's why lying, that's why I've always tried to impress on my children how important it is to always tell the truth. Because when you lie, you degrade your ability to trust or to be trusted. And that is detrimental to a relationship. So always speak truth. So do you think that someone who doesn't have an internal monologue would be spoken to by God through other means, like a family member or something? Because I can see that. Well, yeah, like I've seen I've seen people like my friend Becky. Actually, I'm friends with her husband. I'm not. We went to church together. Her and her husband were infertile. Doctors all said they were infertile. And they were at a Bible study at my friend Brett's house one time, and they were just what was it? A lady came in who was a friend of Brett's wife, I think, came into the Bible study like for the first time, didn't know anybody, didn't know Becky, and came to Becky and said, I have a word of knowledge for you. You're going to have a son. And infertile, right? Doctors all said she was infertile. Turns out she had a son. And then I think she had 2 other kids after that. So, yeah, God can speak through other people. Family members are total strangers. It happens. I mean, if you're in a good God-fearing church, it happens more often than you'd think. Most people don't want a relationship. They want a genie. Salient point, X-Rider. I don't think Sark. I read about Rogan. That's exciting stuff. Yeah, he's getting closer and closer, man. I'll tell you. I tell you what. Zeta says, this is my 3rd chat. How am I 2nd? I don't know how that thing. I didn't even implement it. I didn't turn it on or nothing. It's just there. It's the ranking thing. I don't know. Whatever. What's up, Larry Romano? The peace of Christ is a beautiful thing. Amen. I could use some of that this week. I'm just over. I'm redlining this week. I'll just put it that way. The fructifying showers. Okay, I don't know anymore. I'm sure there's a reason why your ride was always. Oh wow, are we that behind in the chat? All right. Well, I suppose we're supposed to go to God. He's not supposed to come to us. Like you said, Mike, maybe you just need to hear him more, right? The skeptic maybe needs a little more nudging, a little more personal, stick that finger in the palm, right? It's okay to be, I'm going to put this out there. It's great to be a faithful person who does not require evidence and you don't have a skeptical heart. But it's okay to have a skeptical heart. Jesus didn't condemn doubting Thomas. He just said people who don't need that level of proof are more blessed than you are. And I'm fine with that. I have Jesus as my savior. That's blessing enough for me. I don't have to be the most blessed person in the world. I'll take what I got and I'll be happy for it. I'm very grateful. Johnny B, animations and tutorials. Oof. There is no evidence for the existence of God. That you will accept, Johnny B. That you will accept. See, you are what's called a cynic, not a skeptic. And the Bible is a load of crap. Well, again, you are a cynic, not a skeptic. You are not coming at this open-mindedly. You are coming at this closed-mindedly, not willing or wanting to believe. There is evidence of God. You don't accept it. You will claim there's evidence for evolution. I won't accept it, right? So it is a very subjective opinion. You are cynical about the existence of God, and therefore God could rise from the dead in front of you, and you would not believe. Especially in the New Testament, Jesus fulfilled 0 messianic. Oh, you're here from Justin's baloney. Jesus fulfilled 0 messianic prophecies. Jesus fulfilled the triumphal entry on the exact day mentioned in, was it the book of Daniel? To the exact day. And if you're going to say, oh no, but he wasn't a king, which is Justin's stupid argument. Who was it that the wise men said Jesus was before they met him? He who was born king of Israel. Sorry, Justin, you lose. Good day. You get no prize. There are a lot of miracles in the Bible that took time to happen. True. I think my favorite Marvel scene, is when furries crashing to the ground sees someone praying, like you're praying, the dude stops and says, don't stop, we need all the furries. Oh, Fury? You mean Nick Fury? So I'm not, furries? Wait, what Marvel movies are you watching? Learned about that recently. Jesus is in the OT a lot. Yep, Jesus is God. Duh. Yep, Jesus can't be God because he was a liar and a fraud. That is incorrect, Johnny B. But you're welcome to your opinion, and you're welcome to be wrong. Trinitarianism claims Jesus is God, so God, Father, Jesus, and Holy Spirit can often be used interchangeably. Yeah. They are all Yahweh. They are all part of Elohim. Right? Elohim is a plural word. Elohim can be used in the singular, but the nature of the word is a plural. The vibrations may carry sound, but the language is constructed in our mind. It makes sense. He can talk to our hearts. Right. Corpse Grinder says, I don't think God could do anything if he is outside of spacetime. I love y'all have defined him into non-existence without realizing it. He is outside of spacetime, but spacetime is within eternity. God is in eternity, and it's very difficult to comprehend because we are not in eternity. We exist through spacetime. God exists everywhere outside of spacetime and through spacetime, because spacetime is within eternity, which is difficult to even grasp because eternity, there's no spacetime. But God is everywhere. He's holding together his creation. He's not separate from space-time. This is not the correct way to view what we're saying. We're saying he's outside of space-time because his perspective is that he sees all space-time. And again, I hate even saying at once, because at once indicates space-time. We can't express eternity in space-time language. And you are trying to put God, actually what you're trying to do is take God outside of the box of space-time. That's not reality. That's not how it works. Jesus is nowhere in the Old Testament. You clearly haven't read the Old Testament. Read Isaiah 53, dude. Read Isaiah 53. Read Psalm 22. Your Justin arguments don't work here. Sorry. If he isn't in space-time, then his isn't. I know you wrote that way before I just said what I said, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm waiting for you to provide me one instance where Jesus is mentioned in the Old Testament. by name. How about Isaiah 7:14? It's not by name. They called him Emmanuel. But they say, unto us a child is born, unto us is... Actually, let's just read the whole thing. Isaiah 7:14. This one knocked a Jehovah's Witness for a loop. King James. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Oh, wait. Next verse. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, meaning God with us. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse evil and choose the good, and land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. The Lord shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy father's house days that have not come. No. Where's the one? Unto us a son is born. Unto us a son is born. I know it's in Isaiah, isn't it? This is terrible. There we go. Isaiah. Oh, okay, so it's Isaiah 9. Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David, and upon his kingdom, to order it, and to establish it with judgment, with justice, from henceforth forever and ever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Jesus is all over the Old Testament, Johnny. If you don't realize that, you clearly haven't read the Old Testament. Medical anomalies happen, but how do you know God did it? Well, I guess that'd be called faith. Although when a medical anomaly is referred to as a miracle by the very practitioners who are witnessing it, who are you to say God didn't? Who are you to say God didn't heal the 14 cavities my pastor's son, and they have the x-rays for this, by the way, were healed of right before he was having them filled at the dentist, who just took a second x-ray right before he was about to fill these 14 cavities. Suddenly, they were all perfect teeth once again. But that's just a medical anomaly. No, false. You cannot link a God to medical anomaly, so you can't say it's a miracle. No, you won't say it's a miracle because you're a cynic. Open your heart. Open your mind. Especially since Isaiah 53 isn't about Jesus. You clearly never read Isaiah 53. It's not about the people of Israel. It cannot be about the people of Israel. That was an excuse given. Any rabbi prior to Christ reading Isaiah 53 said it was about the Messiah. Can you imagine why they suddenly said it wasn't about the Messiah? Because they rejected Christ. I think maybe the motivation had a little something to do with it. And also maybe it's really funny. If you read this, I showed this video a few weeks ago. Maybe you can search it yourself. There's a Jewish Christian that went to Israel and interviewed a bunch of Jews. Like none of them have ever read Isaiah 53. And he read it to them. And he asked them, first of all, he asked who they thought it was about. And every single one of them said, that sounds like Yeshua. That's Jesus. And they all thought it was from the New Testament. You know why, Johnny? Because they didn't know. It reads clear as day, even to a Jew in Israel, that Isaiah 53 is about Jesus. But no, not to you, not to Justin in his ridiculous arguments. I know that's where you came from, because you're using the same stupid arguments. What's with the royalist chat? I don't know. It's a new thing from... Isaiah 53 is what convinced me of Trinitarianism. Oh, interesting, DJ. You need faith. It is impossible to please God without faith. That's right. I'm not that. I'm just a skeptic. Baloney. Listen to how you're talking. Listen to how you're talking. You're not a skeptic, you're a cynic. Accept it. Look, it'd be great if you were just a skeptic, but you're not. You're a cynic. There's a big difference. And you're very, very easy to tell apart, by the way. You're like one of those atheists that says, no, I'm not an atheist, I'm an agnostic. Okay. No. Johnny, I think that's a modern take. Evidence seems to show that ancient believers of Judaism considered 53 Messiah. Yeah. Yep. No cross-examination is wrong. There is no evidence of God. Oh yeah, because you're a skeptic. I've asked a lot of believers, and they have been never able to provide me of any evidence. No, Johnny, they have provided you evidence, but it's not evidence you would accept because you're a cynic. Jesus could literally, you're even denying medical miracles. That's how much of a cynic you are. Don't say you're a skeptic. You give skepticism a bad name. If you see something that's literally medically impossible happen right before your eyes, and you say, there's no way that's God because there is no God, that's not skepticism. That is cynicism. You are who Jesus was talking about. If they don't believe Moses and the prophets, neither will they believe, because it is an act of will that you're not believing, that a man should rise from the dead. You're literally that guy. There's even evidence for Jesus outside of the Bible. Ancient historians have documented about Jesus. Yep, Tacitus, Pliny the Younger, Josephus. I think there's some new ones they discovered too. Hey, he rode a donkey. Right. He wrote The Cult of the Foal of the Donkey. No, he didn't actually. You're lying, cross-examinations. Yes, he did. And you're denying it because you're a cynic. This is my problem with Christians. They're all liars. Well, you're the one coming in here saying you're a skeptic when you're clearly a cynic. So grab a mirror, buddy. I think a lot of people conflate the word evidence with the word proof. Right. And you know what proof is, right? Proof is just evidence that someone accepts. If I accept that evidence, it is proof. If I reject that evidence, I'm Johnny B. What did they write on the top of his cross? King of the Jews. Right. Because he accepted his crown, but he was born King of the Jews. That was the prophecy. Where is he who was born King of the Jews? A king is someone who is anointed king. Ah, see, I knew it. This is your argument. This is your stupid argument. He was born King of the Jews. The prophecy was, and the wise men knew it. And that just kills that stupid argument. That stupid argument that Justin came up with that you're holding on to with all your might. Jesus never fulfilled anything. You're so full of it. So full of it. Oh, this is so much fun, but I do have to go. I have way too much to do. All right, Corpse Grinder, Buddy Rabbit, having a good conversation. Wow, there's way too much for me to get here. Oh my gosh, this just goes on and on and on and on. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you for being here. If you want to continue the conversation, Johnny, why don't you jump in the Discord and have a fight with whoever's in there, because it's your argument is just typical for a you came from the deconstruction zone, didn't you? Because you're just regurgitating Justin's stupid arguments that they don't hold water. Sorry, but it is what it is. Thank you, everybody, for being here. God bless you all. We'll see you on the next exciting episode of Cross Examinations.